With us right now, we have Don Stenberg. He's currently Nebraska State Treasurer, and he garnered that position with 73% of the vote. He was Attorney General for 12 years. Currently, as you know, and mentioned, candidate for Senate. Don Stenberg.
Good afternoon. I am Don Stenberg, and next year I will defeat Senator Ben Nelson. And Nebraska will be represented by a genuine lifelong conservative in the United States Senate. As Nebraska's next senator, I will vote to repeal Obamacare. I will vote to secure our borders. I will vote to cut spending and balance the federal budget. And I will vote to defend life, the Second Amendment, and religious freedom. I'm honored to have been endorsed by Red State and by Mark Levin on his radio program. Thank you. I'm honored to have the support of many, many Tea Party activists all across the state of Nebraska. You are the salvation of our nation, and may God bless you for all that you do. Give yourselves a round of applause. America today is going in the wrong direction. It is led by a president who apologizes for our nation instead of leading it. America today has a president who bows to foreign dictators instead of standing up to them. We need a new direction in America. We need a new president. We need to restore America. Restoring America must begin with defending our freedom. Our founding fathers understood that big government is a threat to our freedom. The source of our freedom is not a benevolent government. No, our freedom is not a gift from our government. As Thomas Jefferson said, the God who gave us life gave us liberty at the same time. The Declaration of Independence tells us that the source of our freedom is our Creator. The Declaration of Independence says this: we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. Ladies and gentlemen, our own government has become destructive of our liberty. So the time has come to do what the Declaration of Independence tells us to do. We must alter that government, and we can do that at the elections next year. Next year, we can throw out the Washington politicians like Ben Nelson, who voted for a federal takeover of our health care. Next year, we can throw out the Washington politicians who want to impose European socialism on America. Next year, we can throw out the Washington politicians who are leading our nation on the path to national bankruptcy. And next year, we can throw out the Washington politicians who want to increase our taxes to pay for their wasteful programs. Next year, we are going to alter the government of the United States. There are two competing ideas about the American people. The idea of the elites is that most people are ignorant, uninformed haters who must be controlled by the central government. That they are incapable of making good decisions for themselves or for their families. And because of this belief, The elites impose national health care on us and tell us that it's for our own good. They take money from those who have earned it and give it to those who have not. They want to be able to tell you what car you can drive, what foods you can eat, and what light bulbs you have to use. The elites will decide who gets medical treatment and who does not. And they will tell you that it's all for your own good. My friends, this is not freedom. This is tyranny. As a free people, we will decide what's for our own good, not the elites in Washington. The other view of the American people is that they are an intelligent, capable people who want the freedom to work and raise their families without undue government intervention. For those of us who see the American people in this light, we believe in less government, lower taxes, and more personal freedom. Or as Thomas Jefferson put it, a wise and frugal government, which shall restrain men from injuring one another, which shall leave them otherwise free to regulate their own pursuits of industry and improvement, and shall not take from the mouth of labor the bread that it has earned. This is the sum of good government, unquote. That is the way Thomas Jefferson described good government. That is the government that we want for ourselves, for our children, and for our children's children. Like you here today, I believe in the people. I believe in the goodness of our people, and I believe in the greatness of our nation. And I believe that the United States of America is a nation that all Americans should be proud of. In 1936, the Olympic Games were held in Nazi Germany. Adolf Hitler was in power, and Hitler attended the opening ceremonies of the Olympic Games. The Olympic teams from each nation were told that as they marched past the Führer's viewing box, they should dip their national flag in a sign of respect to the Führer. So one by one, the Olympic teams of the nations of the world marched past Hitler, dipping their national flags to the Führer. Then came the American team and the American flag. And the American team believed that America and the American flag should never bow to foreign dictators. They marched past Hitler with the American flag held high. Hitler was furious, as dictators always are when free men and women will not bow down to them. We need to restore the pride in America that the 1936 Olympic team had. Never again should a president of the United States bow to a foreign dictator. Never again should a president of the United States apologize for our country. We need leaders who will defend our nation, not apologize for it. And what do we need to do to restore America's greatness? I believe that it begins with faith. The Bible tells us what is needed to restore a nation. It is written in 2 Chronicles 7:14 that if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and I will heal their land. Restoring our nation must begin with earnest prayer. When you go home tonight, pray for our nation. Pray that God will heal our land. But it's not enough to pray. Every story in the Bible, except creation, involved men and women inspired by God who did what they were called to do. So what else, in addition to prayer, can we do to restore America? Number one, vote. Number two, talk to your friends and neighbors and get them to vote. And number three, Help the candidates who are courageous and who share your values, your hopes, and your dreams for America's future. And what policies should we demand of our politicians to restore America? Add a balanced budget to the Constitution of the United States. Secure our borders. No more bailouts with your tax dollars. Cut federal spending. No new taxes. No more earmarks. Develop our own domestic energy resources. And I might add, repeal Obamacare, reject socialism, support a strong national defense, and stand firm in defense of the Second Amendment, life, and religious freedom. Do these things and more, and we will restore America. I'm running for the United States Senate because our country is going in the wrong direction. And Senator Ben Nelson is a big part of the reason why. We must defeat him, and we can defeat him if we get the support that we need. Ben Nelson was the deciding vote in the Senate to impose Obamacare on our nation. He made that vote in exchange for the Cornhusker kickback. He voted to waste $787 billion on the failed stimulus. He voted to table, cut, cap, and balance. Ben Nelson went to Washington claiming to be a moderate, but he is clearly a big government Democrat now. The good news is that I'm leading him in the polls 46% to 40%. The bad news is that he has a $3 million lead on us in campaign funds, thanks to his big government friends. We need some financial help to balance the scales, and we're counting on you, if you want to replace Ben Nelson in the United States Senate, to help us as much as you can. Restoring America will require courage on the part of our elected officials. TARP was passed because of threats of an economic depression if it didn't pass. But then most of the TARP money wasn't used for the purpose we were told it would be used for. The debt ceiling was raised in a bad deal because of threats of immediate economic collapse if it wasn't raised by August 2nd. We need senators and members of Congress who will not vote for bad deals because they're afraid. We need men and women of courage. I stand in awe of the courage of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence was a declaration of war against the world's superpower of the day. A military expert of that time would have said that the ragtag Revolutionary Army would quickly be defeated by overwhelming British military force. Signing the Declaration of Independence was an act of treason against the British Crown. The penalty for treason was death. Despite the enormous risks, their love of freedom was greater than any fear they may have felt. And so they courageously signed their names just below these words. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Because of their enormous courage, we are free today, and I thank God that they had that courage. If our founding fathers had that much courage, surely we can find men and women today who have enough courage to insist on a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution of the United States in the face of overblown threats of economic collapse. If we believe in freedom, and if we believe in America, and I know that you do, then let us go forward boldly, with courage, asking for God's help, loving freedom, remembering those who gave their lives for our freedom, loving our country, and changing our government. so that our posterity will say of us that when the challenge came, we had the courage to defend our freedom and restore our nation. May God bless you, and may He be with each of you as we work together to restore America. Thank you.